and welcome to the episode of Todd Talk. Because in Todd Talks, people listen, hopefully. We're going to have a little bit of a shorter preview episode today because I am getting ready for a Comic-Con called C2E2. It's my yearly event, and I won't lie, this week has been so busy just trying to get ready for it. But the death battle is next week, so we have to talk about it. And next week, we are going to have Crash Bandicoot versus Spyro the Dragon. Now, this one's kind of an interesting one from a gamer perspective, just because these were two icons of the PlayStation era. These were the characters who helped make the PlayStation what it was. I mean, yeah, sure, we had games like Final Fantasy VII and Digimon World and all of them, but if we're being fair, these were characters created specifically for PlayStation. These are the characters that said PlayStation could make original games, not unlike Nintendo, not unlike Sega, and that they could sell, and they did. Crash and Spyro were and are still some of the most iconic video game characters of all time, which is why we got the Insane reboot, which did incredibly well and is now coming to the Switch, and announced at the time of this recording, we got the Spyro Reignited trilogy. So these characters have been around for a while, and it's kind of cool to see them going in death battle because they were the ones who helped make the PlayStation what it was. So, let's start off with Crash Bandicoot. Okay, this guy's crazy, okay? Like, this is a Bandicoot. I gotta be careful here. This is a Bandicoot who was experimented on by an evil doctor, was basically made insane, although you could argue he already was insane, and is just a pain in the butt with this Dr. Cortex. Crash is, well, I mean, I've already basically just described Crash. He's nuts. I mean, if you looked at the Death Battle preview when they showed that clip of his brain, he's got like that size of a brain. Okay, he's not all there, and yet you could argue that he's also incredibly intelligent because of that. It just depends on how you view things. Crash as a character has dealt with unbelievable things, not just Dr. Cortex, but he's dealt with Titans and other monsters. He has been a racer and a sadist, apparently, because of it. I didn't really understand that part personally, but he has battled creatures of various sizes and strength and has almost always come out on top. You just can't keep a good Bandicoot down. And because of that, Crash has a wide array of abilities and let's call them personal traits that make him an incredibly powerful combatant. He is fast, naturally, because he's a Bandicoot, and yet he can go faster through his skills. He has weapons. He's got a rocket launcher that shoots fruit. Well, I mean, it's not much better than a rocket launcher shoots coconuts, but whatever. He's got a jetpack, which is awesome. He's got, his personal traits include super speed, as I mentioned before, but he's also incredibly strong and able to, help take down Titans. I mean, he's that strong. He's durable, and like everyone talks about the crates falling on him in the game, where he can just take all these crates, just dropping on him at once, and it doesn't affect him at all. So and he literally just gets up after getting pummeled by all these crates. So that's pretty cool. But even more than that, he is able to do his Crash Tornado and not get dizzy, or he can maintain it for a long time and only be dizzy for the briefest of moments. He has certain abilities that make him go invisible, though he needs help from Aku Aku, voiced by Mark Hamill, to do so. And he's also incredibly agile. He's able to jump very high in the air. It's stated that he can jump his own body height, and then he has his double jump, which can add to it. So, he's very durable. He's very agile, which also leads to another interesting thing where he has enhanced senses, which allow him to help dodge opponents' projectiles, which is very handy in battle. He can do a lot, and this guy, I mean, I didn't realize that Crash had this many games, but he does. He has an insane amount of games. Insane. That wasn't intentional, I promise. And he's done a lot of things through them. So he's earned his moniker as one of the coolest, video game characters of all time. Now, whether that helps him against a certain dragon, we're going to have to see. So Spyro is a dragon, obviously. Or is he? I heard he was a dragonfly. Kidding. So Spyro is a dragon that was literally born out of prophecy, saying that every 10 generations, a purple dragon is going to save the world. And unfortunately for him, this led the evil dragon known as Malefor to basically try and take him out before he had even hatched from his egg. Thankfully, he got away, was raised by dragonflies, and then eventually realized, hey, I'm actually a dragon. Yeah, not the brightest bulb out there, is he? But once he went on his journey to literally find himself and save the world, he did so many times over. Much like Crash, I was surprised by how many games Spyro's actually had. But he has done a lot of things, and he's been a headliner of not one but two different series because of Skylanders. So there you go. And yes, Crash was in Skylanders too, but that was very late in the run. And he had a yo-yo. Why did he have a yo-yo? Moving on. So Spyro as a dragon. He's grown greatly through his games. You could definitely see the progression that the developers took with him in his games, which is why, if you watched the preview video, they mentioned the Legend of Spyro as their base for Spyro. Now, I've already heard some people talk bad about this, saying like, well, why would they just do this one version what the other versions isn't? They're saying that as a core, the one they're looking at the most is Legend of Spyro. They're going to look at all the other games and any other media he's been in, including Skylanders, to composite him. But when you're looking at the base, if you want to look at where they're looking at first, they're saying the Legend of Spyro. And I can understand why they do that, because in the original Spyro games, Spyro couldn't fly. He was very, very limited what he could do with his wings. But in Legend of Spyro, he actually was able to fly at a whim, which is what a dragon should do. Now, he's not like a master flyer. He needs certain wind currents to help during certain situations, but he can fly at any point in time, which is likely why they're focusing on this part. So already he's got an, great flight ability. He's got, he can, go places a lot faster, though he's very agile on his feet too. And of course, as a dragon, he's got very tough skin and a very hard head and very hard horns, which he uses to break just about everything he sees in his eyes. But that's still only scratching the surface of what he can do. Spyro has dragon breath, obviously, but it takes many different forms. It can be regular fire, but he can also control other elements such as earth and ice, and what was one more? I think water. Yeah, earth, ice, and water, as well as fire and was it lightning? Okay, I'm starting to get confused. I'm sorry. He can control many elements, which especially because he is the purple dragon of legend, which allows him greater abilities than any other dragon could ever possibly have. Now, to that end, not only can he control all these other elements, he controls certain other things, such as the element of aether, which is incredibly powerful. Now, it's incredibly difficult to use, but when at full power, it can be absolutely devastating. And in the case of a certain other form, which I'll get to in a second, he once used dark aether, which is totally a thing, to turn a massive monster into stone and then shatter him into a million pieces. Now, another interesting thing I learned about Spyro is that he actually has the ability to control time. Yeah. Now, it's only been used in certain circumstances, and after a certain event in Spyro 2, he lost the ability, but given this is Death Battle and these composite abilities, it goes to reason that he can use Dragon Time, as they call it, to, stop time, and thus give him more time to attack his foes. Now, another interesting thing is that Spyro has a couple, let's call them special forms. The biggest one, the one most common one, is his Dark Spyro form, because you gotta have dark in front of everything. Am I right, people? No, but Dark Spyro allows him to become even more powerful, even more deadly, and he'll even do a personality shift where he'll start out like talkative, but then he'll just go full-on killer dragon. And it was in this form that he killed the Ape King. What's his name? Glide? Something like it starts with a G. I'm sorry. Again, I was really speed reading here. He was able to turn. That was when he was able to turn the Ape King into stone and then shatter him. And then, as if that wasn't enough, at the end of the final Spyro game, not Skylanders, like the main Spyro game, Legend of the Dragon, he was able to use his innate purple dragon abilities to literally stop the end of the world and rebuild it. Because he's the purple dragon. Yeah. Alright, so who's gonna win? This is complicated in some ways because this is really a matter of who can take the biggest hit and who can give the biggest hit. Now you might think, well, what do I mean by that? Crash is nuts, okay? And because of that, he does not feel pain. Like, it's stated that he kind of really doesn't feel pain. He's emotional, but you could argue he doesn't feel pain. Again, proven by the crates falling on him and him not even noticing it or caring about it. So Crash is able to literally take massive hits and get right back up as if it's nothing. So the question is, can Spyro deal enough damage to put Crash down for good? Then the other thing is that Crash, does he have enough power to harm Spyro in a way that will put him down for good? So who wins here? I'm leaning to Spyro, and here's why. While you could argue that Spyro has, the flight advantage and thus has better aerial superiority, Crash does have his bike, which can help him. His jetpack, which can help him fly. So that takes that out of the picture. However, while you can destroy a jetpack, I highly doubt that that Crash can hurt Spyro's wings. Okay, yes, I suppose there is a way, but this is also Death Battle, and there's no way they're going to show Spyro's wings getting ripped out. Although they did do that with Charizard. Well, I mean, he didn't get the rings ripped. Never mind. It's not going to happen here. Okay, I don't think Crash has something that could literally rip out Spyro's rings. Not that we even know that that's even possible. So I would have to give the aerial superiority and tactical awareness to Spyro. Now, I could say yes, that Crash could keep up with Spyro on foot, which we'll probably see. But again, Spyro just has more. Spyro has 4 different elements he can control, plus time, plus Aether. And yes, these abilities do drain his mana, and so if he uses them too quickly, he can, run out of the energy to use them. But he also has his head, which is strong enough to break numerous objects, including steel, among other things. Again, I wasn't able to fully research how strong his horns are. He can breathe fire, which is, hot. He's got his Dark Spyro form, which I think would be even... I don't know about that. I think it would be a perfect counter to Crash's insanity, because Spyro himself is curious by nature. He likes to observe things, and then if he gets too curious, then he gets burned. So I think Spyro would actually be curious about Crash at first, but then once the fight starts going, he'll start wanting to take him out, and then he'll go into Dark Spyro form and just not care and just want to kill Crash with everything he's got. The other problem here is that, as I mentioned before, at the end of Legend of the Dragon, Spyro literally used his energy to rebuild the world. Like, the apocalypse was happening. It was happening. It's a long story, but let's just say, like, a circle was formed around the planet. The end of the world was happening, and Spyro used his own magic to rebuild the entire world, and he lived. Technically, okay, there's like interpretation or something, but he lived. Let's just say he lived. Okay, so that's the power that Spyro has within him, to literally rebuild the world. So what's Crash got against that? Not to mention, of course, Dragon Time, where he can literally pause time, get a better shot on Crash, and boom. Now again, he won't, not unlike Jotaro in the last battle, is restricted to an extent, but if he can use it, all he needs is really a couple shots to defeat Crash, and defeat Crash. And Spyro's defeated, dark dragons and all these other things. Yes, Crash has beaten Titans. I'm not arguing here. They both have very impressive feats, but I just think that Spyro outclasses him in both skills, speed, and the ability to move around the battlefield, which is vital in a death battle. So I am picking Spyro the Dragon to beat Crash Bandicoot in the next battle. And with that, I'm ending this episode of Todd Talk. Do you think that Spyro will win, or will Crash go nuts on him and just wreck this dragon to the point that he wishes he never got out of his egg? Do let me know in the comments below. And then once the battle airs next week, I will do my reaction video. We'll see who was right, who was wrong, and whether my winning streak is intact. Hi, not to. So, thank you for watching. If you made this far, I know you were listening, and I will see you around.